I have to admit, I've always been a big fan of Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrows in Batman Man's universe. It's a pretty fascinating character with a twisted personality, and he's always been my favorite Rouge in BTAS. So my best friend told me that there was a lost episode, which in Jonathan changed it back to into a kid. I was like, hell yeah, just give me the DVD. And she did. I was thinking about it, I guess I should have been wary. My best friend was never fond of Batman. Indeed, she had always thought that my sick passion for this cartoon was kind of weird. But at the moment, I was just so happy to be suspicious, and then when she gave me that DVD, I could only think about one thing: watching it as soon as I could. I got home earlier than usual that day. One of my teachers was sick and I left school in a hurry, eager to watch the lost episode. I put the DVD in the drive and sat down on the couch with a bowl of soda crackers. Now, everything was starting normally. Batman was chasing Scarecrow down Gotham streets, with Robin, of course. Jonathan ran into a dark alley and hid behind inside a dumpster, looking tired and sick. He was paler and skinnier than usual, with cold sweat all over his face, and I immediately thought that he might have been drugged or something like that. The camera then got back to Batman, who was still looking for the villain, looking very worried. "Have you found him yet?" asked Robin. "He can't have gone too far, and Dr. Bartholomew said that he's weaker than a kitten when he escaped." "That's what I'm afraid of, Robin. A weak and scared scarecrow is a very dangerous scarecrow. But we're here to help him, for goodness sake, Batman. It's not like we're going to hurt him." "I am fully aware of that, but the man isn't. Remember, he is sick." I don't know why, but I begin to feel uncomfortable here. Batman was usually very calm, very confident, and at this moment, well, let's just say it clearly. He seems very scared of what I didn't know, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to know. A part of me wanted to turn off the TV, but another part of my brain was like, no, don't. Jonathan's in trouble. That'll be nice to see Batman helping him out for once. So I just sat there, unable to get my eyes off the screen, and then the camera cut back to Jonathan, who was now sitting on the floor. His heart beating was literally deafening, and he seemed to be in great pain. That's when things started to go wrong. The Scarecrow screamed, a scream that was so shrill and so loud that I nearly jumped out of my couch out of pure fright. He spat the blood, and a lot of blood, and his body soon started to convulse. His eyes were so bloody red, and his face, oh my god, his face was paler than a ghost. I swear to God I wanted to turn off the TV, but I never wanted to turn that damn TV. But I was like paralyzed with fear. I could just look at that damn screen and wondering what was going on. Just what I was thinking. What the hell is this? Then it all ended and Jonathan stopped moving. It was like he had died there, in this dark alley. His screams alerted the dynamic duo. Batman and Robin arrived once to the scene within seconds, and they had a look on the face was of pure terror. The camera slowly turned back to Jonathan, or at least what was left of him. There was a pile of bloody clothes, and sitting under rags you could see the red-haired kid, who looked very frightened. He looked at Batman and Robin with tear-filled eyes. "Professor Crane," Batman asked carefully, Do you recognize us?" The kid remained silent for a while as he got up on his feet, and his face was covered in blood, but that didn't seem to bother him. "Dimwits," he said, smiling. Batman and Robin looked at each other with relief, and I have to say I was quite happy to see that Jonathan Crane was still himself. I sat back on the couch. Now I knew that in the episode was never aired that it would have been too scary for kids. Batman caught the kid in his arms and wrapped him up in his cape. Jonathan didn't even fight back. He seemed pretty sleepy, and I thought he was just going to be happy and safe. They brought him back to Arkham, explained the situation to Dr. Buffalo, but at this point the episode I was like a kid in front of a Christmas tree. Now that everything was back to normal, I knew that I was going to join this episode. 5 the following minutes were never annoying on my opinion. It was about Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and their damn maternal instinct. I want to cuddle you up and I want to read you a good night story, and so on. Boring. But after these horrifying scenes, I've seen, and I wasn't going to complain. Nope, sir. As time passed rather quickly, Jonathan was still stuck in the kid's body. Things weren't going so fun for him anymore, and the other inmates were tired of having to take care of him, and the doctors were treating him like a toddler. One night, Batman came across the asylum to see if everything was okay. He found Jonathan sitting on his bed, looking depressed and lonely. "How do you feel, Professor?" the Cape Crusader asked. "Dr. Buffalo then just told me you were quite remorse." "Who wouldn't be? I hate being a child. I should have been more experimented to this new toxin on myself. Look at me, I'm a freak." I was waiting for a comforted speech from Batman, but he wasn't there anymore. Instead, there was just a note on Jonathan's door. I felt a shiver run down my spine. Who could have wrote such a horrible note? Batman? No, that was insane. Jonathan just looked at the piece of paper for a moment. He didn't seem too sad, just tired, exhausted. The screen then went to black. The next morning, a nurse came in and the inmates called to see if everything was okay. She entered Jonathan's cell. There was a moment of silence, and then she ran away screaming, as if she seen the most horrible thing ever. The camera turned into the cell very slowly. No music, just the sound of a very loud heartbeat. There he was, grown up again, his face twisted into a horrifying expression of pain. "Jonathan," I screamed, and I think I'll never stop screaming. And that, my little pretties, was, well, Fear of Victory, a Batman Lost episode creepypasta. My final thoughts on the story? Well, this was actually quite an interesting story of Batman, I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to look for a good Batman creepypasta for a while, except with the sole exception of a kind of a feels pasta or something by, Shane Hilden, which he did not write. Shane Hilden did not write this story. I'm just saying that the Loud House crossover with Batman, that's the story I'm reading, which I'll have to get to that chapter soon. Apparently did something with Batman, which that's one of the stories I'm reading. I've actually seen Mr. Gruesome, Dave the Useless, Creepy Elliot, and a few other people sat there and narrated this story. And I have to say, this story was quite something. This story, I have to say, was definitely something I wasn't really expecting. To be completely honest, I kind of remember, reading this story at one point, but never had a chance to narrate it, so I finally had the opportunity to narrate this, and this story is actually pretty good. I'm gonna be completely honest, when I first saw this pasta, I was kind of hesitant to narrate this one because, I don't really know what it was, but for some reason, I kind of did, like this one, but at the same time, I kind of really don't, because it just didn't really make, I don't really know, there was something about it I kind of had mixed feelings on, but this story was not a bad one. I'm definitely saying that it was a pretty well-made story for what this one is. Now, this one was definitely a pretty good Batman creepypasta. So I definitely like how, the concept was, even though this must be, a old story. I have a feeling this was written maybe sometime in 2013 or 2014 or something. But this story was actually made before, cliches became a problem. There's DVDs and all, DVD cliche and that, This story, it kind of hits me in the feels, knowing what's going on with Jonathan, which is a very good thing. Just like with Cayusa's Goodbye to Gilbert, which that one is more of a feels pasta, this one actually hit me in the feels, which is pretty amazing, to be honest. I definitely have to say that it's a really good, kind of good pasta with it. So I definitely have to say that this story, I'm gonna say this right now. This story actually provided pretty good detail. It was believable. And that note that Batman said to what Jonathan needs to do, which I'm not saying it for, one of them being YouTube's kind of sensitive about it, but you guys could probably get it. If you read this story on the regular Creepypasta Wiki, you probably might have heard of it, which is possible. So, yeah, I definitely have to say, this story was definitely, was a really different pasta. I've never read, a Batman creepypasta. Well, I kind of read this one, but I didn't narrate this back in 2019. No, I didn't. I kind of wanted to do it, but at the same time, I really just didn't have the time to sit there and do it. So, But now that I'm sitting there and doing this now, I definitely got a lot to say about this story. This story was definitely something. A little bit different, yes, but it's still a really well-made creepypasta. The fact that, it has a good concept and all that, and, this is an old pasta, so it was written around the time before, creepypasta cliches became, a problem. So, I don't know who the original author is, I don't know who is the original author for it, because I can't seem to find the original author of this story. So, it's just gonna stay anonymous until I find out more information. If I do find out who the original author is, I'll be sure to sit there and give the author proper credit. Like he or her proper credit. This is actually a pretty good story, so I'm not gonna lie. The ending kind of was a little sad, but at the same time kind of freaky too. So, I definitely have to say, there's definitely a lot of good things I have to say about the story. If I had to say one thing I wasn't really crazy on, that would kind of have to be, the fact that, Batman would, about the note. Like, there's, no explanation on who could have left the note. Like, I want to say Batman did, but at the same time, I really don't know if he actually did it or not. It is a possibility that Batman could have left a note to Jonathan when he left the hospital, but yet again, it's, Batman, appears 1 second, and then when you turn away, then look back, he's not there. It's quite, characteristic of Batman to sit there and do this, because if you watch Batman, you probably already know what Batman does, and, I haven't watched Batman in, a really long time, so, yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch Batman, because I haven't watched him in, oh god, it's been a while. This story was definitely different. It was not a bad story, although I do wish that it could have maybe just a little bit more explanation or something, because in that way, this story would have been, good. It's still a good story. I do wish, though, that there was a little bit more explanation given to what's actually going on within the episode. Well, it does explain that, but still. But anyways, with that being the case, that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas. This is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of the story would have to be a 10 out of 10. It's a good creepypasta. It was very enjoyable. I do like the fact that the grammar is pretty good, although the grammar could be polished up maybe just a little bit, because there were a couple grammatical errors in the story that it kind of really, didn't make sense or something, so that wouldn't be a problem to get it fixed. But other than that, the story was excellent. Pretty good, really well made in detail. It's a pretty believable Lost episode, and it's a pretty good one incorporating, the cliches before, cliches became a problem. But anyways, with that being the case, that being said, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out.